As November 1st fastly approaches and millions of people are going to be losing their SNAP benefits, federal employees are still not receiving paychecks, including our military members. The Democrats in Congress are refusing to sign a clean resolution to reopen the government and continue negotiating while the government is open. They will point the finger at President Trump. They'll point the finger at Republicans. But what you'll see in this video is the Democrats are at fault. They keep blaming the wrong people. They'll tell you that it's Trump's fault, that it's Republicans' fault, and they're ready to do what they were elected to do, which is serve the American people. But they're all full of crap. They know they have failed. They have failed at every single thing they have tried to do for this country. Some of them have been in Congress half of their life, and they've always failed. But this time, this government shutdown under President Trump is lasting longer than most have ever have. When a Democrat was in the White House and there was a government shutdown, the entire body voted to reopen it and continue negotiating. But now that we have a Republican in the White House and it's Donald Trump, and we all know how the Democrats feel about Trump, they are refusing to sign on to a clean resolution to reopen government and let people get the benefits they need. Watch this video of just some of the hypocrisy coming from the Democrat Party.
Trump has made the decision to let people across this country go hungry. Trump is telling 15 million hungry children, eat dirt. Trump is telling 1 million hungry vets, eat dirt. Trump is telling 8 million seniors who are hungry, eat dirt. That is how much Donald Trump cares about the children.
30 days into this shutdown, and Republicans and Donald Trump are keeping the federal government shut down rather than working with Democrats to try to figure out how to solve this problem. And I can tell you, Minnesotans are not happy about this.
Each day, our case to fix health care and end the shutdown gets better and better, stronger and stronger.
I know Democrats are ready to go. I know they're ready to come back and do this. They're ready to come back and protect things that had passed the legislature. They are not willing to come back and let an authoritarian president do whatever he wants.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
They have had months to negotiate. And you reopen the government, and we lose our leverage, and they say, well, we want this, we want that. No, there has to be an agreement right now. That's what this whole shutdown is about.
Republicans say this is an admission that Democrats are using the American people as political leverage during this shutdown. You want to respond?
Donald Trump is the president. Republicans control the House and the Senate. They've made the decision to shut down the government.
And there it is, the same old story, time and time again. The Democrats reading from the same playbook. And it must say in big, bold letters, blame Donald Trump and Republicans for all of our failures. Liz Warren, absolute joke, made millions of dollars off pharmaceutical companies. She'll tell you she didn't, but she'll also tell you that President Trump wants children, veterans, and the elderly to eat dirt because he won't negotiate with Democrats. Chuck Schumer thinks he's in charge. He really thinks that he's going to get what he wants out of this shutdown that he and his partner, Hakeem Jeffries, have caused. Tim Walz shouldn't even be in that video. He's an absolute buffoon. We saw him when he was running for vice president with Harris. He looked like a fool on every stage. Every word he spoke came out of, again, the same old playbook. Minnesota is now known as the new Somalia. So forget Tim Walz. Hakeem Jeffries, it's the Republicans' fault. It's Trump's fault. They control Congress. They got the White House. Same old thing. But then we had Kathleen Clark and Bernie Sanders telling you what they weren't supposed to tell you. What's the reason, the real reason for this shutdown? Because they believe it gives them leverage over the Republicans and over the president to get what they want out of this new spending plan, which they call a clean resolution to reopen the government. They want pet projects re-entered, if you will, into the spending package so they can, of course, think they are the saviors and they're saving everything and making America greener and healthier for everyone. It's absolute hypocrisy that they will stand there knowing that they are the reason for the shutdown and they continue to point the finger. But Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma, back on October 7th, spoke on the Senate floor, and he told all of his colleagues, both Republican and Democrat, the real reason the Democrats are refusing to sign on to a clean resolution, the real reason that our government is still shut down today. Have a look at this.
Every single end of September, as we approached the deadline for government funding, this body had a conversation. Do we want to remain open and continue negotiating, or do we want to shut down? And every single time during the Biden administration, this body said it's harmful to the American people and to federal workers to have a shutdown. Let's keep things open and continue to be able to negotiate. So the end of every September, which is the end of our fiscal year, this body voted to keep the government open and to continue to negotiate. But what happens when the Trump administration comes? Well, during the Trump administration, Democrats have determined that they want to show they're fighting and raging, they're the resistance against President Trump, and so they've determined the best way to do that is just to be able to shut the government down. The same effect happens for federal workers. The same effect happens for the nation. We have the same opinion across the world as the entire world looks at the United States of America, the greatest nation in the world, which is apparently not able to keep its government open. Because my Democratic colleagues have determined they want to show that they are the resistance. Well, who gets to pay the penalty for the resistance? And what does that really look like? We've had several votes that have happened here where we've had what's called a clean continuing resolution. This body knows it well because we voted on 13 of them in the last 4 years. A clean continuing resolution, and passed all of them. It was just a moment to say, can we keep the government open and continue to negotiate? The body determined, yes, let's keep negotiating, but let's not hurt federal workers and their families, let's hurt members of the military and their families, let's not hurt them. Let's keep the negotiating here. So we did that 13 times in just the last 4 years. Until now. My Democratic colleagues, as the President knows full well, have brought forward a proposal. Their proposal is titled Continuing Appropriations and Extensions and Other Matters. Now, ours is just titled Continuing Appropriations and Extensions. Theirs is titled Continuing Appropriations and Extensions and Other Matters. It should make you say, well, what are the other matters? Well, ours just keeps the government open, that is, Republicans, just keeps the government open at status quo, where we are. Same level of spending, same functionality, that's where it focuses in on. My Democratic colleagues have brought their own proposal, which is $1.5 trillion in spending addition, and they include a couple new little nuggets in there, and other matters. They throw in like Section 135, which has a new element on carbon management expenditures, dealing with fossil fuels. They have a new section on climate change initiatives that are built into their and other matters. They have Section 154, which is getting additional funding to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They have Section 2306, which allows a new extension of electric vehicles getting access to HOV lanes. These are the demands that they put in to say, we will not reopen the government unless we get electric vehicles into HOV lanes. and additional money for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and carbon management expenditures. And oh, by the way, there was a $50 billion rural health care fund that Republicans passed in the One Big Beautiful Bill. They also want to get rid of that $50 billion rural health care fund, saying we need to wipe that out. Can I tell you, rural hospitals really need the help.
And there's your answer. That is the reason the country, the government, people won't be receiving their benefits. Federal employees are not being paid. The reason that the government is shut down, because Democrats always want something more. You heard Senator Langford. In 4 years, they voted 13 times to keep the government open when the fiscal season came to an end. During the Biden administration, it was never a problem. We all agree to vote. We all agree to keep it open. Yes, keep the government open. Let's still negotiate. But because it's Donald Trump and because the Democrats have such hatred for Donald Trump, hatred because they're scared, because they know he's doing what he promised to do on the campaign trail, they refuse to reopen the government and continue to point fingers. They want, and you heard Senator Langford, they put in other matters. The bill is called Continuing Appropriations and Extensions. That's what the Republicans have it titled as. The Democrats put in their amended bill, Continuing Appropriations and Extensions and Other Matters. And their other matters, you heard the senator, will cost the American taxpayer $1.5 trillion more. That puts our country $1.5 trillion more in debt. They want money for carbon management. They want money for climate change. They're all big on the climate change. They want money to keep public broadcasting stations open because the public broadcasting stations are the one who preach all the left's propaganda. They want to make sure that electric vehicles have access to HOV lanes. That's an important factor for the Democrats because all of the left, they all love these Teslas and any other electric car they make, which quite frankly I think are ridiculous. But they want to make sure the electric vehicles are allowed in HOV lanes. If they're not, the Democrats refuse to vote to open the government. The Republicans passed, signed, agreed on a $50 billion spending package for rural hospitals. The Democrats said no, take that out. And they're telling you that Republicans and Donald Trump are cutting health care, are going to make people basically go without any coverage to go see a doctor, go to a hospital, or what have you. I mean, we knew that was crap from the beginning. But now Senator Langford told you the Democrats will not agree to a $50 billion package for rural hospitals. Why? Because the Democrats didn't think of that. That's a great idea. Give people in rural communities access to hospitals that are close to them. They didn't come up with it, so they don't like it. The Democrat Party is doing one thing, in my opinion. They're making the United States of America, the entire country, and every citizen in it look like fools. They are pretending that they're brave and bold and strong. They're the fighters. But what they're fighting for, no one cares about. We all know climate change is a scam. I'm sorry. I don't believe in it. It was global warming a long time ago, and pretty soon it won't be climate change anymore. They'll call it something else. They're blaming it for wildfires. They blamed climate change for the Palisades fire. Now we all know that's nonsense because there's a person in custody right now who started the Palisades wildfire. And they wanted you to believe and they forced down your throat that it was climate change that started that devastating fire. It's all nonsense. I don't know how many times I have to say this. I'll sound like a broken record over and over again. The Democrat Party of today has zero accomplishments. They want money for things that the majority of the American people could care less about. The American people want affordable groceries, affordable fuel, affordable housing, affordable health care. The Democrats refuse to help make it go through, bring it to fruition. The Democrats don't care. They want to continue to bloat government spending for nonsense causes like carbon emissions, electric vehicles at HOV lanes, climate change initiatives, electric cars in Zambia, transgender studies on monkeys in South Africa or wherever it was. I'm just throwing that in there. I've heard it before. It's all true. It's all out there. You can find it. My point is, they'll point the finger and they'll blame conservatives. They'll blame the right. They'll blame the Republicans, whatever you want to call us. But they are the real failures. They are the ones that are causing all this issue with this shutdown. And it's two people mainly that are the biggest problem. It's Chuck Schumer, who lies like there's no tomorrow, and there's Hakeem Jeffries, whom I like to call Timu Obama, because every time Jeffries opens his mouth, you're guaranteed to hear Donald Trump's name. He blames Donald Trump for all of the world's ills. These people are frauds. And I'll tell you one more thing about Hakeem Jeffries. It'll make you see he's a fraud. He's backing the socialist Democrat, Mamdani, to be mayor of New York because Hakeem Jeffries wants New York, the entire city, to be run by the government. Excuse me. No police, send social workers, government-run grocery stores, free health care, free child care, free bus rides, you name it. Hakeem Jeffries wants to help Mamdani bankrupt people who own property in New York, who rent out apartments because Mamdani wants to freeze their rent. And if they do that, the building owners will lose everything because they won't be able to afford to keep their properties. The Democrat Party is a scam. It's not the Democrats of 30, 40, 50 years ago. The Democrats of today are propaganda pushers. They're trying to fill their pockets with money at the expense of the American taxpayer, who are suffering now during a government shutdown because of Democratic leadership in Congress and nothing else.